Good evening, Book Talk. It is live chat time with Lynn Lipinski, who is a wonderful author and person, and I cannot wait to interview her. I'm just going to go see if she is live so that we can add her. Here she is. Invite the Lynn, and we will be. There you are.
Hi, Marissa. I was trying to find you.
How are you? How are
I'm
you?
good.
Good.
You know what? Let me shut the door. I just realized my husband is having a loud call.
There we go. Well, while you do that, I'm going to introduce the wonderful Lynn Lipinski, who is author extraordinaire and TikTok wonderful person. And here she is to talk all about her books. So you look like you're in the office in working mode, ready, like getting seriously down to it. Yeah.
I wish. More like procrastinating.
We all like to do that. I have my new crown. This is my new crown.
It's fabulous. It's like a peacock.
It is, isn't it? And so my thing is that I wear a different crown every time I do an interview, not like a brand new one. I wish. But this is my newest crown, and it is the most elaborate. I think it's definitely the tallest, and hurtiest. But it's what Book Talk's all about, isn't it? So, Liz, tell Book Talk, if they don't already know, about your books. What do you write, and how many books have you got out there at the moment?
I write thriller mysteries, which has always been kind of my favorite genre of things. I love like when there's a dead body on the first page. Like I love those books. And I have three. So two are in a series, and one is a standalone like techno thriller.
Yeah.
It's possible no one dies in my second one, I just thought. But anyway, so they're kind of in the thriller mystery. They're not the kind of books where there's a bunch of suspects like Agatha Christie and you're trying to figure out who. I think often people can kind of tell who the bad guy is, but it's sort of about the journey of it, journey, about how you're going to get there. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you'll even read a mystery book, and like even in the prologue of the first chapter, you know who does it, but the whole book is about figuring out why it happened that way, and that's just as exciting to figure out how you get from A to B, isn't it? So fantastic, and I love your covers. So who designs your cover art? Who designs your cover artwork?
So I've been a couple different graphic designers that I work with. So I do public relations and communications. That's my day job. That's how I make like the real money.
Yeah.
And the fiction is a hobby still. And so I use graphic designers that I use for work, like people, and in particular, the one who did God of the Internet, which I think is the best one. It's a woman named Valentina Talingen, and she's on Instagram, and she's an artist actually who just kind of does commercial graphic design, for a living while she tries to make a living as a visual artist. And I just loved what she did. She did this kind of pixelated woman's face, which depending on how you hold the book, it either looks like pixels or it looks like a woman's face. And
it's clever, really clever. Yeah, really do. I always love your Serpent and Dove cover. There's something about that really captures my eye. Yeah, it's so mysterious and evocative. And then you've got the snake, and you just think, it really makes me want to know more. I just think. Yeah, I adore that cover so much. I mean, all your covers, but that one particularly.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. This,
and is that your newest? Is that your newest?
This is my newest book. It's the second in the series of my Zane Clearwater mysteries, which is basically he's like a down on his luck guy, kind of poor, lives in Oklahoma, lives in a trailer park, and he just winds up in situations he shouldn't be in, and he's the guardian to his teenage sister. And in this book, his sister winds up in kind of a criminal dark web ring. She's got some hacking skills, but she gets with the wrong people, and he has to get her out. And the serpent is because he actually is the janitor at the zoo, and that's where the serpent comes from.
That's brilliant.
And he really learns, he really reflects on his life, thinking about how serpents shed their skin. and how he can try to have new beginnings. And so that kind of happens in this book. And that's what the title inspiration is about.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I have downloaded your books and I've yet to read them, but they are on my list. And rest assured, I will be leaving reviews and love everywhere.
Thank you.
So hacking, do you know how to hack? Or did you have to research hacking? Tell us about hacking. I love the idea of hacking. I think ever since I saw the movie Hackers with Angelina Jolie, it you know, I loved that film, and I just kind of thought, I'd love to be able to hack and then hack for the CIA or the FBI or something like that. So have you got any kind of knowledge in how to do this?
Not directly. Let me just say hi, Noel. Thanks for joining. My friend Noel just said he likes my new book more than the previous one, so I'll take that. And that's good. It's good to get better. And so I don't directly know how to hack, but I spent 4 years working for this group called ICANN, which they basically run the domain name system of the internet. And so I worked with really tech people, and I helped write a lot of tech documents there. I was like a writer, comms person for them. And the hack, like in God of the Internet, is all about this one kind of this worm that infects millions of computers and then is used to shut down water and power systems. And all that really happened. And it was like a story that someone had told me while I was working at ICANN. And I was like, well, that's like a novel. I mean, that's a novel. So I had some experts from that world help me write God of the Internet, and kind of just, there's a couple of them who just read, are my like tech reviewers who will go in and read, go, yeah, that's possible. Lynn, what are you talking about?
So how did you find these people? I mean, do you happen to know these people in your life, or did you have to go looking for them?
I worked with them at this place, the ICANN, the Internet Corporation, for assigned names and numbers. So I worked with them there, and they, you know, I think people enjoy talking about what they do, and kind of, they enjoy kind of talking, say, hey, you know, they still pitch me ideas for stories. They'll be like, Lynn, did you know that it's really easy to hack into airplane control systems? It's not something I want to know, but like someone sent me that recently, and they're like, that's a novel idea. Go, you know.
you could, I mean, that could be the third book, couldn't it? Where it's all, and it reminds me a bit of, I don't know if you ever read Michael Grant, who's the young adult dystopian author, I would say, but his series Berserk is about software coming down and nanotechnology, and a plane basically crashes in a stadium, and it kind of reminded me of that. But if you focused on airplane, I mean, that is, you don't need a physical hijacker then, do you? It's very scary. Yeah, I like you, I prefer just not to know with that kind of stuff. It's, if you can't do
I'm
anything
a little afraid
to
fly.
Wow,
I'm like slightly afraid to fly, and I do it, but yeah, that one really bugged me. I was like, I don't even want to think it out.
I used to fly all the time until I developed my anxiety issues, and then now I have to take Valium to get on an airplane. So,
oh really?
And I have to be with my husband. Oh yeah, I know. I have to drug myself. So, yeah, I don't want to know.
Oh my God, Marissa, is it a thing that has gotten worse for you, that anxiety, over your life, or has it gotten better?
It's gotten better. And I think because when it first happened, I was 19, and I lost 2 friends to meningitis at university in my first few weeks of university. So, you know, it was the first time that I had been on my own as an adult, and the carpet was just pulled out from under my feet. And there were signs when I look back throughout other incidents in my life that indicated that I would have issues with anxiety, but that was kind of the hammer that dropped, basically. And it didn't actually hit me until over a year later, when I tried to go back for my final year. And I think the stress of the real world, and just not knowing what I was going to do, it all hit me at once. And then I lost faith in just the medical professional industry, basically. It took me a long time, various medications and therapies and psychologists and things like that, to come to a place where I could function, and I had relapses. But I would say I've now learned to recognize the signs, and I've learned my limits. There's been a bit of acceptance rather than fighting it. I just think it's I was so young when it happened, but as you get older and you mature, you learn what you need to do, basically, I think. But it's, yeah, that's my little nutshell. Yeah. But back to you. We need to talk about you, my love. Yeah.
Oh, well, you know, I'm a curious person.
Well, that's fine. You can ask me questions too. I'm absolutely open. I will talk about anything. So, you know, that's absolutely fine. One of the things I love about watching your TikToks is you chucking your books everywhere. Tell me how you felt. I mean, obviously you're in LA, you're near all these studios. How did you first have the idea to just throw your book over the fence of Paramount Studios or whatever?
Right. So I am in LA. I live in Burbank, and we are really like 10 minutes from Disney Studios, which is where they make a lot of the content, but it's not like where the Disneyland is or anything. It's just the studio part. And we were sitting, so, you know, I was young in my TikTok trying to come up with funny ideas. And, you know, we're just sort of, I don't know, it's just hard to get your books have traction, right? And I think Steve and I were sitting at a park that was really close to Disney Studios. And I think I had a book with me, and I was like, I'm trying to come up with TikTok ideas. And I was like, geez, you know, we should just go throw my books at the studio. And it was literally like, well, let's just drive over to Disney and throw it. Like, it was not really well thought out even. And for whatever reason, like, that video has resonated with so many people, probably just made them laugh. Cause I think partly I look like kind of I might be maybe a serious person. And then I go do something really silly.
I love it. I love it. So how many books have you thrown over, or is it just one?
They get worn out. So yeah, they do get worn out. You know, I mean, obviously we usually retrieve the book. We don't leave it there. We do usually retrieve the book. I'll be honest. We haven't lost one yet, but there was one that really got worn out, you know, and I think I finally put it in the recycle bin.
Yeah. Or use it as your reader copy to do readings from or something, you know.
Oh, it was in such bad shape. I don't even know if you could do that. Like the binding was all coming off because it had been thrown with veracity many times. And, you know, because also those videos sometimes take multiple takes to get it right. So the book really, I don't know. Some people find that kind of bad. They think that it's bad to throw books. And I think, you know, it's just my marketing budget.
Well, exactly. And it's amazing that you can actually throw things over, that there's nothing to stop you doing that in a way, because they must get all sorts of things thrown over the fence, really, when you think about it. But so there's half of me that's relieved to hear that you did recover your books and you're not wasting a whole bunch of money on just throwing books everywhere. The other half of me is really sad because I want the fairy tale ending. I want the producer to call. I want to hear that story, you know? There might be a whole book in this, in a way, in throwing a book over the fence and what happens. And this could be a whole book in itself. And we can throw a dead body in it, don't you worry. Yeah, think on that. A little bit.
The book could hit someone.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. You know, all of a sudden my comments blew up with, you retrieved the book. I feel like I really, it was a spoiler alert. So my comments over here are like, you can't believe you retrieved the book. I'm sorry. I've broken the wall.
Everyone now, haven't you? Oh, well. Okay. So clearly you're going to need to make another one, and you're going to have to throw it and say, I am leaving this one here.
I will leave it here.
Yeah.
My new idea is to wrap one up as a Christmas gift and go throw it over at Disney, which is right by the house. But maybe that one I'll leave. Like, here's a Christmas gift.
Absolutely. You should. And make sure you put your contact details in there, because you never know. Weirder things have happened.
I've got to do that. Oh, Noelle has said, can I tell you about throwing my book at someone at the beach? But I'm trying to, there was like a little kid who wanted to be in one of my TikTok videos. And so we met him in Venice Beach when I was there promoting my books. And so he said, oh, you know, do a book where you throw the book at me. I was like, all right. So we staged it. He's like a little kid, and I throw the book at him, and he picks it up and he throws it and says, I don't read books, you know? Anyway, this video did not go viral, but it should.
I remember that. I do remember that. That was really funny. Yeah. Brilliant. I love the whole, I used to live in Orange County, actually, so I'm not unfamiliar with the areas you were talking about. But that was when I was a child. Most of my family are from San Diego. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm actually American, but I was born here, grew up most of my life here, moved to Orange County when I was 9 for a few years and came back again. And then I had a really strong American accent and I lost it completely. I'm the only one in my family who doesn't have an American accent. And my brother's in Boston. My parents are here in the UK, and a lot of my family are in San Diego. And I mean, they're all over the place. But yeah, and I've spent a lot of time in San Diego's, Orange County, and LA. My cousins live in LA. Yeah, it's like my home away from home, really. So yeah, yay.
Do you know? I have to tell you. So my best friend is a woman named Priya Kapoor. And she has pretty much your same kind of life, except for she kind of, instead of San Diego and Orange County, she's like LA based. She's the only one in her family with the British accent. Yeah. She straddles LA. Her husband is from London. She went to high school in London. Her husband's from there, but they live here now. And like, it's like the same vibe entirely. Like half funny? SoCal, half LA, half England. And she has a nice accent like you do, and like says, go to the loo, which I bet you do.
Yeah. I do. I mean, I will say things like grass, half, laugh, but because I say it with an English accent, it sounds like I'm either Irish or there's an area in England called West Country where they make cider and things like that. So people think I'm from Britain, but just in a different part from where I actually live. But if you get me out in the States and I'm talking to other Americans, then my accent pops right out and I can't do anything to stop it. And the kids will look at me and go like, why are you talking American? You know, and I'm like, it just comes out. I can't help it, you know. But yeah, it's so weird. It was good times. So let's talk TikTok. Obviously, we have met on Booktop. When did you first join the Booktop community?
I was like March or April of 2021. So I've only been on for like 7 months. I don't know. And I was just, I just did a video today because I was kind of, I got really interested in this conversation where somebody was making videos kind of shaming authors for making their own covers and not doing a very good job. And so I was kind of using it. Yeah. Do you see those?
I caught wind of I never see the drama. It's always Katrina Burgess who's commenting on the drama. And I'm like, where is the drama? I never see the drama, but I did catch wind of something about that. But I just don't know why. I never see the drama. So yeah. Absolutely.
I didn't see it. I saw somebody's like stitch of part of the video. So I really only saw a portion of it. And I decided, well, I'm not into talking about that person or saying anything about them, but like, I'll use this as an opportunity to talk about like beginner's mindset and the ability, you know, gentle and loving critique, and that kind of thing. And as part of that, today I was going to look at some of my old TikTok videos is my point. And oh my God, they're so terrible, like cringeworthy stuff, you know, just when you're trying to find your voice in like marketing and stuff. And I mean, these are just cringy. And I mean, some of them I made private because like, I don't know. But others you just kind of leave up, go, oh, they're so bad, but whatever. You got to start somewhere. You got to learn somewhere. You know, I did ones where I put text all over my face. I don't know why I did that. You can't see my face. You know, I don't know.
People do. I see that a lot, actually. People do. I mean, when I look back at some of my first ones, I used to do a lot of book aesthetics and with my books and books that I had been reading, and which used to take me hours to put together. And I don't do as much, but I do still love them. But I don't see them as much anymore. But I love, one of my favorite things to do is doing an aesthetic on TikTok. I really enjoy the creativity on that. I love it. And I've definitely evolved in what I'm posting. And I try to do a mix of short versus long versus funny versus genuine. I mean, I'm very sarcastic in real life, but I'm not a naturally funny person as an entertainer. You know, there are some accounts like, I don't know if you follow Claire McIntosh. I mean, she's nailed it. She's brilliant at her TikToks.
I have to go check her out.
She's a British crime writer. Very big deal over here, and she's just brilliant. She came on a couple of months ago and she's nailed it. And and also like Ali Mulford as well. I think she really gets it. And I don't know how they think of these things, you know, and where they find the sounds. And I'm like hunting for sounds, trying to change what's on my For You page because I need something funny and not just book talk, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. So, did you join TikTok on purpose then? Like,
yes.
Did you go thinking, is there a book community on there? Did you already know there was a book community on there and you thought, that's where I'm going to go?
I had heard there was a book community on there and that it was active. And so I was like, I think I'm going to have a book come out in like 6 months. Maybe I'll go get on TikTok and kind of see what's out there. It was way better than I expected it to be. And nicer, you know, I think I was intimidated because I don't know. I thought you had to dance or something.
Yeah. Absolutely. You do. That's the test. That's the initiation. No, you just have to wear a crown. That's fine. Yeah.
It turned out to be a lot more forgiving because I haven't had to do a dance yet. And talk about cringeworthy. I'm sure that would be. And but you know, I really found like I also, it's just nice to kind of interact with the other authors on here too. And I think for the most part, it's been a good group of people who are supportive and interested in furthering their craft.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think I love it here. And I think Twitter before now was always my main platform. And that was really where I met my author friends, my writing group, my critique partners. Before that, I had been writing in a vacuum, I would say. And it was Twitter that was my first kind of social media. And I learned so much from people on that. But I never sold anything on Twitter, you know, and I know that some authors do. Some authors sell lots and lots and lots of Twitter, but for me, it wasn't about that. For me, it was about the community. So I came on, I think it was about May time to TikTok thinking, where are my readers? Where are my young adult and my new adult readers? And I thought, well, that's where I need to be. But again, I have found this amazing author community who I feel like I know almost better than the people I know on Twitter because we see each other. We hear each other, and there's just something, you know, you just watch people's posts and you feel like you know them so well, and why it's so easy to like chat with you tonight because I've been watching your posts and we know you just feel like you're already friends, you know. So I love how supportive it is from both authors and for readers, and I've connected with both, and I like to connect with both. And I think it's a special place to be, really, and it's exploding at the moment. So, you know, that's good too. Yeah, really good.
I agree with you. I think too about why do I think like I know the people on TikTok better, and I guess it really has to do with the lives. It has to do with just seeing them, right? And you know, they're not perfectly curated in the, you know, Twitter characters or Insta photos, you know. I agree with you.
I think it's you being genuine. I mean, Twitter, you're just looking at what they're writing. Instagram is puffed up pictures. TikTok is all about being real, and you can see how people really feel about things, and people aren't afraid to show their emotions, which I think is fantastic. Quite frankly, I think we need an honest platform. Thankfully, I mean, I've stayed away from the drama because I haven't seen much drama, but as I said before, and hopefully it will stay that way. Maybe I'm just a rubber to drama, hopefully. Who knows? So let's talk a little bit about your writing journey. Have you always been a writer?
I guess, I mean, as a kid, definitely was writing plays and like little books and, you know, that kind of thing. And then I went into public relations because I thought to myself, well, you know, it was a tough time. It was like the 90s when I graduated from college. And I just thought, okay, journalism's kind of dying. I guess I'll go into public relations as a way to write for a living. And so I really put all the fiction writing and any other kind of freelance writing to the side and just did public relations stuff, you know, like writing brochures, writing annual reports, that kind of thing. And I probably did that for about 15 years before I got really bored. And I started playing around with a novel. And it took 10 years to write my first novel. And, and now I have a blend. So I work as a freelance corporate consultant. I still write annual reports because, money. And,
absolutely.
But I, enjoy writing the fiction. It's a hobby.
Yeah.
I went back and got my master's in fine arts of creative writing as an adult. Wow. Like I just got it in 2018, and sort of dabbled in poetry and other kinds of things.
That's amazing.
Short stories. So it's just kind of a rejuvenation, right? Like I guess that's why I always feel really strongly about adult learners and how you can always be a beginner even in your 40s.
Absolutely.
Or just go ahead, just be a beginner again. It's a little uncomfortable because, I think by the time you get to a certain age, you don't want to be a beginner anymore, but why not?
I think if you have a thirst for knowledge though, and there's something you're passionate about, that you look beyond that, don't you? And you just embrace what you want to learn. I think of my grandmother, who was so intelligent, and she finished high school, and she was the top of every class, but never did anything. She was a mom back during the Second World War, all that kind of stuff. And then at age 55, she went to university and got her degree. And I kind of thought, because that is something she had always aspired to do, and she wanted to do that, and she knew and I just think, absolutely, you should never say no to yourself and always strive to do those things. And even if it's a change in direction or a new career or something you always wanted to do, I think it's so important for the soul, I totally agree with you. Do it.
How inspiring about your mom. My mom,
and my grandmother, this is my grandmother.
Oh, your grandmother.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, even better. My mom has like these insecurities about her. She didn't go to college. And I always sort of wanted to shake her. I still kind of do want to shake her. Like, cause she'll be like, oh, I couldn't have gone to college. Look, you certainly could have gone to college. Look, she's really smart, but like, and to me, that's a mindset thing. That's something in her that's telling her that, I can't do that. I'm like, yeah, you can. Of course you can. Maybe you don't want to.
Yeah. My mom's the same way. So this grandmom is my dad's mom, but my mom, she dropped out of college, I think, after her second year, when one of her examinations was that she had to do a public speech, and she cannot. She is the life of every party and the most social person you will meet, but she cannot do public speaking. And rather than go through that, she dropped out of college entirely. And I just thought, I know, it's so sad. And she is so bright and has so many talents. And I think about, and she had an amazing career before, she was actually making more money than my dad. This was back in the 70s. And then when his career took off, she took the back step and was stay-at-home mom, which is what she wanted. So that's fine. But there was a lot of things she could have done. I think sometimes I think, wow, what could you have done? And she looks at me being an author sometimes and thinks, wow, this is incredible. And I think, I feel lucky and blessed and passionate, but I also think, she's had a wonderful life and she's happy with her decisions, but I also think she has so much more to give in some ways that I just kind of wish she had overcome that, it's hard, but it's hard, people, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So
no shaming about it, but it's just that you do think like, that's too bad, because I see, we see in them more, and think, well, you got it in you. My friend Noelle just wrote, as long as you believe in yourself, and that is a big part of it. You have to believe you can do it, and not listen to people who might tell you otherwise.
That's the most important thing. Is just you do what you want to do. Don't let anyone tell you no. And I think you do I was at a literary festival at the weekend, and I was on a young adult panel, and it was really, it was a really interesting, it was the first thing I've done in a couple of years, obviously with COVID and blah, blah, blah. But it was really interesting in that respect, is that, writing, whether you want to go traditionally or self-published, it's so competitive. It's actually the second most competitive industry in the entire world. And I asked the audience, I said, what do you think the first is? And no, people typically say singing or acting, but it's not. It's choreography. Choreography is the most competitive industry. Maybe you feel that more where you are, because there'll be a lot of that around LA. But yeah, that is the most competitive industry. And I just thought, because it's such a narrow market, I think, so many people wanting to make their name there. Yeah, it's really interesting. Really
over in not far from here, there's in this place called North Hollywood, that's like not Hollywood, but like over the hill, there's a lot of dance studios. And yeah, I mean, you see a lot of people come in and try their luck, right? It's yeah, you know, but it doesn't mean that you can't dance. I mean, I guess probably like with author, you know, you just, there's different levels of achievement, and we can't all be the top, so we can try, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we can keep trying and keep learning, and that's what that's what we're doing. I just got I don't know, you may have seen one of my posts about my agent recently recommended me a craft book to read.
No, I missed that.
I know. I love your reaction. This is brilliant. This was a little bit like a knife to the heart, you know, like okay. But it's not like in a negative sense. It's just I've read this recently. I think this would really benefit if you try, you know, it's that kind of, but sometimes it feels a bit like, you know. So I started reading the book, and then he had his Twitter on it, and I went onto Twitter and followed him, and then he followed me back, which I wasn't expecting. So I did a little tweet to say, so I just want to absorb all of your knowledge by osmosis now, and tagged my agent on it. So,
I saw that Twitter. Yeah.
So we'll see what she says to that. But yeah, no, it looks like I hadn't heard of this book before, and it's like the 27 Principles of Storytelling or something. It looks brilliant. So when I finished it, I'll be doing some posts about that. So yeah,
that's great. Yeah. There's part of that just kind of touches at that insecurity, I think, that I have. Like, like, what do you mean?
Just like, and she'll say,
have you seen I have a master's?
Read this book because it really nails characterization. I'm like, okay.
I'll try not to read too much into why you're telling me that.
Well, it's better than my first agent, who used to tell me, well, one of her other clients, such exceptional writing, and she used to say this every time I spoke to her, and I was like, thanks. But I think at the time it was fair enough, because I was like the noobiest noob of all noobs at the time, and didn't even know what show versus tell was at that point, you know. So that was fine. When I look back, I giggle.
It's all right. Yeah. We have to be kind to our beginner selves.
We do. We really do. Yeah. So Lynn, tell me about your writing process. Are you a plotter, a pantser, in between? How do you go about approaching the book?
So I'm a bit of both, right? And one thing I use, a technique that I use for plotting, so I would say it's in between completely plotting. But have you heard of like beat sheets? Have you ever taken a screenwriting class and where they kind of urge you to use the 12 beats of a piece? So I tend to use beat sheets, just really kind of rough, like, so, you know, I had a beat sheet for Serpent Loop, and, you know, it would be like, somebody dies at a carnival, they go to LA. And then I just kind of write from there. But the thing is, it's like, I think every time I've even used a beat sheet, probably halfway through, I'm revising the beat sheet. And I think that's what makes me a pantser, right? Is that I'm like, oh, that's not the
beat sheet. Do you already have your characters in your head? Or are you just using it for your plot points?
No, characters too. So
characters too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because Serpent Loop, so it's a sequel. So I knew those characters. I knew who I was going to use. Sometimes the villains change, or the new characters, I might change them. But like, it's a basic, I don't know, the beat sheet's not that spelled out. And I envision other people probably build more into it. It'll really be like Zane goes to LA / romantic scene. It'll be like that. It might not even say who the romantic scene is with. And it's sort of, that's how it kind of works.
Okay.
And then I do wind up revising it. Like that whole beat sheet, the middle part just completely changed by the time I was writing those parts. Like, oh, that doesn't work. And then I try to write in the morning.
is like one beat maybe 2 chapters, or roughly? Does it equate that way, or kind of
two or three maybe,
okay,
depending. Yeah.
And do you add any more detail to these beats, or you just leave it kind of top level and just that's where your pantsing comes in?
Yeah, that's where the pantsing comes in. The only detail I'll add in is if I'm working on the beat sheet, like you have an idea, don't forget you want Letty to, you want to make up funny Instagram posts for one of the characters. I'll throw that in just so I'll remember it when I get to it. But other than that,
those scenes that I get that. Wow.
Yeah,
that's I mean, I find it so fascinating because every writer is different. Everyone approaches it differently, and there's no right or wrong way. That's what I think is so fascinating about the writing industry. It's just, there's no college degree on, yes, you can do creative writing, but there's no like, this is how you're going to be an author making $10,000 a year, or this is how you're going to be an author making $500,000. It's just so woolly out there that you just got to find your way, don't you? And we all have different experiences that bring to that whole creative process. So it's nuts, absolutely nuts. So what does your editing process look like?
Oh,
I love that reaction.
I'm pretty bad at me. I'm pretty bad at like editing while I'm writing. So I'm always trying to train myself out of that, right? Like I'm always fixing sentences instead of creating new sentences. So I always have to train myself out of that. So I usually rely on, there's a woman that I've worked with on several of my books who I love. And I've had her I pay her to do the developmental edits for me. So I really just kind of get it all down, try not to self-edit too much, send it over, and then work off of her notes. And she's usually pretty good at really, not just providing high level, but she'll go into the paragraph and be like, okay, so you need way more, this needs to be like 3 pages, not 1 paragraph. And so I usually work off of her advice often. Other than that, it's just kind of, I really would be curious what you do. And so I usually either work off of hers or do the thing where you write it, let it sit for a couple months, then go read it and try to make notes on it as to what needs to be fixed. It's painful is why I made the reaction I did.
Yeah, I agree. Editing is not my favorite part of, it's not the work per se, it's the second guessing myself that I find hard, because I tell all my writing friends I write perfect first drafts purely because I don't want to edit. So I do periods of resting where I stick it and I don't look at it for a while. And I'm trying to make those periods longer on the advice of I work really quick and I'm very productive, and my agent's always telling me to slow down. And I'm like, and I'm always at this speed, and I've always appreciated rest periods. But for me, I write the first draft, I rest it for 2 months, I can do an edit. And I'm like, when it comes to big structural plot changes or character issues, I'm really afraid to make changes because I think, what if the change I make is wrong? And that's when I really need feedback. So I need like 10 people to read it, or my agent or somebody to say, this is what you've got right, this is what you've got. If I've got that, then I'm happy to charge on and make those changes, no matter how complicated or big they are. But I just need someone to tell me what to do, because I just don't have the confidence to do it myself. And then once you drill down into line edits and things like that, that's fine. I'm not a grammar person. I can't do punctuation vaguely, but I don't know necessarily all the rules. But it's a confidence thing, I think. And I've written so many books now, but the one time I made major changes to a book, because I felt like it wasn't right. And then I sent it to my agent, and all the things that I had made changes to, she said to take out.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, which was fine. But it just goes to show that I don't always make the right decisions. So that's why I get nervous about So, for instance, this book that I'm working on at the moment, and I've been talking to my agent about it, and I got this report back, and I was like, we'd agreed on this, and what are we doing? And she said, we'll do this and this and this, and that's what I need. I need step-by-step instructions almost. I'm a hold my hand kind of person through the editing process. And I mean, I can write you a book a month for a first draft, but editing wise, I need you to hold my hand. So yeah, that's not my good part. No.
You just articulated why I also really like Susan, who was the editor for my last two of them. And because she does it is hand holding. It is, I've had other people do edits and read where they give you the letter. Have you ever, where somebody will give you like this letter of suggested changes, and I'm like, oh, I just really do better if you go in and pick the sentence and say this sentence, this area you need to do X with. And it doesn't have to be like a line edit, but it's just more like expand this, slow down time here. Make it quicker here, amp up the drama here.
Yeah.
But I really need that where they show me the paragraph, because if you just say you need to amp up the drama, I'm like, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
Which paragraph?
Which is fine as a general instruction, but in which bits, And I'm like, I had this reader's report. So this conflicting information I've had recently, we had a Zoom call with my agent and the editor, and we had agreed on what the changes needed to be made. And then I read the report, which mentioned so many things that we haven't talked about. And I got really confused. And I was like, and one of the comments was that all the characters are really passive, which in my heart of hearts, I actually disagree with. I know go look at my TikTok videos. There's with the sad emoji face. Yeah. So, and my heart of hearts, I really disagree with. And I was like, okay, but I need more than that. If you think my characters are passive, which one is the worst, and when are they passive? I need a lot more than that kind of statement, to work on. That's not a helpful statement. So I totally understand that you need the specifics. So yeah, there we go. Yeah. So we've touched a little bit on your hacking skills. What kind of research have you had to do for your books, or what's been like the most interesting versus the most tedious?
Oh gosh, that's a fun question. So, the fun part. So for Bloodlines, so my character Zane Clearwater, he actually works at a zoo, which I don't know why this just amused me. And so I actually talked the head person at the zoo's reptile department to give me a behind the scenes tour when I was writing Bloodlines. It's probably like 2015 or 2014.
Wow.
And I mean, I really wasn't even a novelist, right? I was like the person who says they're working on their first novel, but you've never like seen any of their writing, right? So, I mean, I don't know what made them. They just saw something in me and like, okay, lady, we'll give you a tour.
I love it. At
least now I have books to point to when I ask for crazy things. Yeah. Right? But that was like, really, we don't know you. But anyway, so I got a behind the scenes tour of the reptile, and in the book Bloodlines, I don't know why, but I really wanted to have a man get eaten by a Komodo dragon, and I really wanted to write that scene, and I just wanted that in the book. Wow. And so I sat there and asked this reptile guy, I'm like, so how would a Komodo dragon eat a man? And and once he was sort of quit being like, what do you want to know for? He was like, okay, let me tell you how it would work. And this would be how long it would take. It turns out it would take like a day. It's not a fast thing, like in a cartoon. And he's like, he'd start with the belly. Some of the stuff didn't even make it in the book, right? This is just things I know. He's like, but the Komodo dragon would come and bite them in the belly first. That's what it would do. And, that's what it would look like. And it would take a long time. And so that was the most fun I've had.
So would the person not be able to get away? I mean, what would make them not be able to fight back?
Oh, well, in my book, the guy's already injured when he's thrown into the Komodo dragon pen. Okay. So that's how it works in the book. But yeah, the thing with the Komodo dragon bite, they usually bite you to wound you. And in this case, he was trapped in an enclosure, so he didn't get away.
Yeah.
But they'll often like come find you, you know, like they'll bite you to wound you and then maybe wait an hour and then come find you, like if you've crawled off behind a rock to try to get help or something, and then the Komodo dragon will come and finish you off. And there is also some, I guess, bacteria, saliva.
Yeah, I mean, do they have any venom or anything in their bite?
I don't think it's venom, but there's something that might make you, like sicker. So that's how it does it.
This is fascinating. I love this. Yes. Komodo dragons where are they from? Somewhere in Japan, aren't they?
Indonesia.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very creepy, big lizard, look like dinosaurs.
Yeah,
I just was fascinated with them. And I think that they, you know, I had that draft of that book with the idea of the Komodo dragon. I'd probably been working that in 2009, 2010. Wow. And I think in 2012, that James Bond movie Skyfall has a man get eaten by a Komodo dragon in a casino. And I remember thinking, like, that was my idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I think that's fascinating. I've always had a fascination with them. I love animals in general. And I do have shark fascination too. But all animals, I find them so interesting. And something. But don't you have a book
that has people who were impacted by shark attack? Isn't that one of your mermaid?
Yes, yeah, my mermaid book, and the other species are shark shapeshifters. Yeah. So
I did that one. I haven't.
Yeah, so nice. I'm just working on the rest of the series actually. So yeah, I do indeed, and I love sharks. I do love sharks. I really want to do a shark cage dive thing. Yeah. I do. I think in South Africa. Where else are you going to do it?
I don't think I'd do that at all, but I applaud you.
Yeah. Well, I love all the maybe also it's like 42 meters down, which I love, which is about the shark cage that gets, you know, disconnected from the boat and they get sunk 42 meters down and there's this aggressive shark and it's like, in reality in South Africa, they have like 10 cages and they're all stuck together and they all drop you over the side at the same time. And you only go a couple of meters underneath the surface and they have the same going on the other side of the boat. So, you know, I'll be terrified, but I want to do it. So,
not on my list. There's sharks up in the Bay Area, you know. My husband used to surf up there and would say you would see shark tails. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there are. Because great whites migrate all up the Californian coast. And I remember my uncle came face to face with a great white. I don't think it was a big one. And then I remember blue sharks being caught off the San Diego Pier in Ocean Beach. There's lots of sharks and stingrays and all sorts of things. And because the mermaid book is set in San Diego, so I was doing lots of research on the local shark. It's quite frightening actually.
Yeah, but don't go in the water.
Jaws,
right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Right, we are coming to the before we get to the fun questions, I wanted to ask you about your book marketing. Now, we know you like to throw books over to Disney, which I think is a stellar approach. And we know that you're on Booktop. What else do you do to market, advertise your books, get the knowledge of your books out there?
Oh gosh. If I were interviewing you, this would be my question to you, because I actually think you're like a genius marketer. Okay. I think you're genius at it. You know, because I don't think, other than like the TikTok, just being active on social, the other thing that I do is I do have a budget for advertising. So I do paid advertising.
Yeah.
And so generally I've had a lot of luck with Facebook advertising in the past. even though I don't really do that much else on Facebook. I'm doing the signed book market right now, but like, I don't even keep my page very active. But the advertising, their targeting really works still. And I haven't had as much success with Twitter, and Amazon ads have been hit or miss. I had one that I had one Amazon ad that someone helped me work on that worked really, really well. And I've never been able to replicate that success again.
Frustrating. Really
it is. I think they changed the products they offer for advertising on Amazon. I feel like this was like in 2015, and it really worked. Like, I got a huge amount of sales off of it. And then everything else I've done on Amazon has been a dud.
And this is it. And when you try to duplicate and things like that, it just doesn't work the same way. And like TikTok, algorithm, and Facebook, they all change their algorithms. So you're always playing catch up. It's I'm amazed. I think that's great that you've got Facebook to work for you. I mean, I've used Facebook ads, but they are expensive. And I couldn't get them profitable. And it was the same with Amazon. Yeah. So I'm enrolled in, I don't know if you know Mark Dawson. So he's a British guy that does this advertising for authors course, and it's amazing. So he does Facebook and Amazon, and he does any platform you can think of. So the person that runs within this company, the Amazon ads, is a woman that used to work for Amazon for 10 years. So you follow through her course.
Let me write this down.
It's just so, Mark Dawson. So much of it. So it's about $75 a month for 10 months. But I think it's worth it, because once you have access, you have lifetime access. And they update the courses, and you will always be able to see the new material. And there's a Facebook group. You can ask questions and advice anytime. So Janet Margot, her name is, she worked for Amazon for 10 years. She knows the ins and outs. So when you take someone like Brian Cohen, for instance, who's quite well known for doing Amazon ads, he's doing this from an author point of view and selling what has worked for him, which doesn't necessarily work for anyone else. And as much as Janet and Brian are good friends, she will say, Brian's method isn't really the one to follow. So I really trust the way that they do things. I haven't been able to make Amazon ads profitable yet, but I've just revamped all my ads. And I think it takes, the thing about Amazon is it's slow in comparison to Facebook. You need data to analyze what's going on, and you need to understand the data. So I actually said to my husband, after my new ads have been running for a month, I said, will you sit down and watch all the tutorials with me about how to analyze this data? Because I need your brain as well as my brain. Because we need to do it together. We need to, to figure it out. Because once you've got that information and all that data, it's knowing what to do with it and how to capitalize on it. So I feel like it can work. It's just figuring it out. And, but I think crime and mystery and things like that are one of those big markets, actually, because Mark Dawson, although he writes detective crime, not like your kind of crime, he does very well. I mean, he's just like he makes thousands and thousands and thousands every month, so there's got to be a way to make it work. I think, I don't know, young adult, I think is hard for me. But what I've seen on the Amazon ads is mystery, thriller, crime, and romance work really, really well. But I'm going to keep plugging away at it. So, but I'm curious. You call me a genius. Why am I a genius? Don't think I'm a genius.
Why do I think you're a genius? So first of all, just the idea of doing that signed book market, and the way you seem to kind of, the way you knew how to set it up, and really struck me as smart. The stall numbers as a way to kind of track who is paid participants seemed smart. Like, there were just, it just seemed like a smart setup to me. And so there's that. And then why else? Well, I was just looking at your website before we came on, and I there was something I really liked about your website that also made me think you were a genius.
Oh,
what was it?
Do you know, the signed book market really came out of a frustration for me being in virtual markets for things that aren't necessarily just books, but like local area. And I kind of thought, I'm in about 5 where I'm advertising the books, and it's great to be like the only author there. But I kind of thought, wouldn't it be great if we had something that was just dedicated to books and signed books? Because there are so many promo groups. I don't want to be, but signed books are special. So that's why I thought, if we could build this unique community, and where it was just for bookish people, that, you know, that was my intention behind that. So, and it's growing every day. We've got new members joining every day, new authors joining every day. So I, you know, I'm really pleased with how it's going at the moment. So yay.
Okay, so the other thing that I thought you were genius, so your website's really nice, and but the offering of the chapters, like the free chapters, like I had, anyway, it's just things like that where I was like, I never thought of that. That's a cute, that's a good idea. So it's things like that. I think, you know, I just kind of operate. I really wasn't marketing my books a lot before this year. So in some ways, I'm like in that beginner mindset going to, how do you do this? Even though I've done PR and marketing for years, books are a little different. And
they are.
And there's this community thing you need too, that I think I hadn't really seen. I kept seeing it as kind of a one-off, like, oh, well, I market my books, you market our books. And I didn't quite see how like we could work together. And now I've started to see, like through Indie TBR Takeover, the signed book market and that kind of thing. I say, oh, actually, if we combine, we do better if we work together.
Absolutely. And I think, and I think it's great having the TikTok authors group on Facebook, for instance. I think you're in that, aren't you?
I think I'm in that.
Just sharing ideas and things like that, and helping each other. And I've actually realized by subscribing to people's newsletters, what people are writing in the newsletter, what I think is good versus what, you know, because I've been really hit and miss with my newsletters, and I'm thinking, you know, I don't know what to write, and I think I've been a bit too hard on the sales, whereas actually I should be a bit more personable about my personal life, you know, and my journey and things like that. So having subscribed to a few authors and seeing what their content is gives me, you know, we all learn from each other at the end of the day, I think, and visiting people's websites, and you think, oh, that's a great idea, I'll offer a free chapter, or, oh, that's a great idea, I'll tell someone what I'm doing on Christmas Day. You know, it's just, you just learn that way. And my other idea that I'm working on at the moment is doing a Indie Novel Award Reader's Choice. So I want to start a book award for indie authors, basically.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I've got lots of traditionally published friends, and they get on all these lists and everything like that, which is wonderful for them, but we're not eligible, and it gets me really frustrated. So I in the embryo process of putting this together, I'm hoping to talk to Nicola Omerod as well, obviously, because she's got the wealth of experience of the TBR. Maybe it's something that we can actually fit together. But I don't want it to be just a TikTok thing either. So I'll have to promote it across all forms. So I'm starting to put that together because I think we deserve recognition, to be honest. So
the Cindy Books and Stuff just said it was a great idea. The award, I'm sure she meant the award idea. It is. There's some out there, but I think that more is better. And people do, awards are shorthand in marketing, you know, it's a shorthand recommendation, right? It won an award. Oh, okay.
I just think, my whole idea was to have adult, young adult, middle grade picture book, and then I think would have a general winner in each of those categories, but then which would get an actual trophy, plaque, something. And then to have runner-ups and then category winners, which would have, you know, like seals you could either put on your book cover or on your social media pages or things like that. And as it grows, I have a friend that runs a novel award every year, actually, and as it grows and gets bigger and bigger, and the respect that will come with that, which is what I really want for indie authors, is that respect. And what that symbol means, that's my goal at the end of the day, is just feeling proud of having achieved that, you know. So we'll see. Watch that space. Right, we are now for fun question time. Okay. Or evil, depending on the way you look at it. Okay. As a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or spirit animal?
Well, I'm not going to pick the Komodo dragon. Gosh, I feel like I just have to pick my dog, actually, as like I have a little wiener dog, and I feel like she's a good spirit animal, just kind of, small, but doesn't know it and just keeps on trucking, right?
I love dog. I have a dog. Dogs are they really are women's best friend. Yes. Right. If you could only eat one meal and drink one drink for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Wow, that's a tough one because it's like not quite your favorite meal, but it's one thing the rest of my life.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just go with favorite meal, which would be like my mother's pierogies, which are like a dumpling filled with cheese or meat, and I'd probably be plump as heck if that were all I ate. But yeah, I think it's just like a delicious, like thick noodle, like a thick ravioli filled with meat and cheese, and then sautéed in butter and onions.
So where is that from? Because Lipinski is obviously not your mother's name.
No, her name is Rosik, but it's like a Polish Slovakian
dish. Lipinski is Polish as well, yeah?
Slovakian, but yeah.
I've been so my youngest has been talking to me. I said, "Oh, I've got my live tonight." And because normally he likes me to read him a story, and I'm like, "Well, not tonight. I've got my live. Who's it with?" And I've been walking around the house all day going, "Lynn Lipinski," because I love the sound of it. Lynn Lipinski. It's just such a great name.
Oh, thank you. I'll use that as a sound. I wish I could use that as a sound in a video. I'll just walk in to rooms with you announcing me.
Oh, I'll get my trumpet. My son's also playing the trumpet. I can't play. Hello, Lynn Lipinski. There we go.
And then I'll throw a book,
Yeah. You'll need to continue personal. My watch is talking to me now. Let's ignore that one. Okay. What is your favorite biscuit or cookie?
Oh gosh. Well, chocolate chip cookies, like real soft and like chewy. There's nothing better. Maybe with walnuts, maybe not.
Yeah.
Nothing better. Yeah. Nothing better.
I'm in agreement.
Maybe Oreos are like a second because I really like Oreos.
No, my kids love Oreos. They are the most processed thing I've ever eaten. They're just.
I know.
Really
what is that white stuff? I don't know. It's so good.
Well, and it's like the Twinkie apparently is one molecule away from styrofoam. So, because it has a 70-year shelf life. So, if you're in a jam in the apocalypse, in 20 years, grab a Twinkie. You'll be fine.
You should put them in the emergency kit.
Yeah. We used to have earthquake quicks. Do you have earthquake? Well,
we do.
Yeah. And drills and all sorts of things. Yeah. That was fun.
Water. We always have water in the garage. The bottled water in the garage.
Yeah. Right. Favorite color. What is your favorite color?
Blue.
Me too. Good. Right. We answered the question of you have a dog. Any other pets?
Nope. Just the dog.
Just the dog. Okay. Very important question here, and it's going to be interesting considering where you live. Marvel or DC?
I'm not sure I have a preference.
Ooh. Does that mean you're not sure you care? Or
I'm not sure I know the difference. Is DC like Superman and Marvel is Wolverine? Okay.
So Marvel would be your Avengers, your Iron Man, your Spider-Man, your Guardians of the Galaxy. DC is your Batman, your Superman, your Catwoman, your Aquaman. Aquaman is the one that I'm a Marvel person, but I do like a bit of Aquaman.
Growing up, I loved the Super Friends, which were all the DC comics. They lived in a crystal palace and solved crime. So I guess that's where I'm going to have to land. And Wonder Woman.
That's cool. There is a very cool Netflix series called The Titans, which is about Robin, who basically is estranged from Batman, and he takes on all these messed up kids with superpowers and kind of is their mentor. So there's been 2 seasons, and I love it. Yeah.
Is it animated or is it live action?
No, real people.
Oh, sounds good.
Uh-oh. Or not. Okay, right. There are two parts to this next question. What 3 books would you take to a desert island or give to an alien? They might not be the same.
Wow, I might have needed that one in advance. So the Bible always comes to mind. the the Bible. Just because I haven't really
I said the Bible. And then I thought, actually, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure about the giving it to the alien, but I could see taking it.
Okay. But taking
it's got a lot of pages. It's something to do. I haven't really read it all the way through. So
neither have I, but I thought of all the retelling fodder in that for, book ideas.
Yeah, right.
It's full of it.
Right. I mean, it's like there's some epic stories in there. And it stood the test of time. So Bible, but then the other books, boy, you think like, well, it would take a Harry Potter, and I'd certainly give an alien the Harry Potter. I don't know, throw them off the scent, tell them it's real.
Oh, I like that.
Just in case they have some idea. They have some idea they're going to take us over. Be like, oh no, but we have, we have magic people. So that's how that works.
Brilliant.
Third book, boy, I don't know. Maybe something, like The Sound and the Fury that like I never really got into, and maybe I would try to see if I could memorize it or something, one of the James Joyce books or something.
The only person who wants to further herself on a desert shipwrecked island.
You can just sit there and try to unpack the symbolism for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to really look at this chapter.
That's what you'll feel like doing. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Maybe it should be like a first aid manual. I did.
Oh yeah. I have this book I bought several years ago that's it's called How to Do Just About Everything, and it has like a page on how to tie tourniquet or how to build a shed, or all the things that you can think of. That's my apocalypse book.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
How
to turn the gas on, that stuff.
How to light a fire without anything,
right. Very useful. I take that book. I'm gonna write that book down for my list. Not to give the alien. They get Harry Potter and something else that will just confuse them.
I think one of my favorite answers to this
Boy Scout handbook
has been, and I can't remember who it was actually, was to give the aliens 3 books about aliens. Just so that they could see how we interpret aliens, which I thought was very funny and clever, actually. But maybe peaceful ones. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I immediately saw them as a foe and wanted to
well, that's because
throw them off the scent.
What we write. It's where our brains go.
Right. Yeah. Dead bodies.
Okay. Last question, and you are free to get on with your day. Have you got any talents that would help you survive the Hunger Games?
Oh my gosh. Is people pleasing a skill?
Well, absolutely. You need to build your team. I mean, when you look at it, Katniss is not a people pleaser. If you can be a people pleaser and join one big happy team family,
maybe.
Yeah. Then no one kills anyone.
It comes real natural to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's funny. Yeah, because I got nothing else really. Yeah, I have nothing else.
I wouldn't do well either. I think maybe in the second one where I can swim, I can swim, but that's about it.
I mean, I could swim to get out of the water if the shark was coming, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, one of these other books I bought was about what to do in dangerous situations, and one of them is what to do if you're confronted by a shark. So I'm thinking Sunday reading with the kids around the fire. You never know when you might need to know these things.
I think you hit them on the nose. I think that's what I read.
It's the nose is where they have the most sensitive. Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, because when you're under the water and the shark's coming at you, you want to turn around and wait for them to attack you just so you can punch them on the nose. That's what you're thinking, right?
It's really close. It would be really close to you.
I mean, and you're going to aim perfectly because they don't swim fast. They're not going to get you before you know. Yeah, punch them on the nose. I'm sure it'll work. That. Yeah,
I'm sure my hand won't go in the mouth by accident.
No, and get chomped off. Not at all. No, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to work.
Oh my gosh, your questions are hilarious, Marissa.
Yeah. Well, we like to end the evening on a high note.
Oh my gosh, how fun.
Yeah. Well,
how fun.
All is left to say is thank you so much for joining me. It has been a pleasure to chat and learn about your journey and your books and your process and about you. So thank you for coming on the show. And this will be going up to YouTube and I will be sharing the links with you. So that's good.
Fun. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, good. I'm glad I wore a nice shirt.
There we go. Awesome. Or you could just get TikTok to dress you, that sometimes works.
Oh, like a filter, like a cute outfit filter would be good. Yeah. Oh, this was so much fun. Thank you for inviting me. I had a great time.
Good. Anytime. All right. And we will do it again soon. Have you, one last question, got any more books in the pipeline? What are you planning on doing next?
Oh, I think I'll be writing the sequel to Bloodlines and so the next book. Brilliant. I'm going to send my character Zane to the police academy.
Nice.
But he's not, it's probably not going to work out. That's my spoiler alert. It's probably not going to work out.
Yeah. Good. Well, hopefully we will have you back on the show, hopefully near the time of new releases. I like to have people on when they've got a book coming out as well. So let's try and organize that. Yeah. And
that sounds great.
Then, yeah, I'll see you around on your
I'll see you online, Marissa.
Indeed. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
That was Lynn Lipinski, a mystery author with lots of dead bodies on the first page. Please do check out her books. And if you would like to be the star of the show, you go to my Linktree bio and click on that interest in being on my chat show. And I will get in touch and let you know what the timetable is all about. Until then, next time.